It's been a tough few years for the #2 overall pick so many years ago, and he's got all the talent in the world as we look at the Montreal Canadiens' last 4 seasons. Remember they were in the Stanley Cup final 4 years ago? I mean, that had just... It's so crazy because it was such a crazy time. It was the whole shortened season with COVID. And
that might be, though, the best way of illustrating just how wonky that time was.
Yes.
Because Montreal really appears out of nowhere in the finals when not a lot of us were projecting them to make a deep run that year. But bubble hockey, COVID was a peculiar moment in time for this sport and, you know, for a lot of other walks of life.
Yeah, and then they went on to miss the next 3 years. So they, in fact, they finished last one of those years in the entire NHL. So they're definitely going through a bit of a rebuild, but they made some interesting moves this offseason. I know we were talking about them as your intriguing team in the Atlantic just last week.
Yeah.
How do you assess them?
Well, in the following way, I think this is a group that, you know, they're still early in a retool, rebuild, whatever label you choose to ascribe to it. But I think now the pieces are starting to kind of fall into place. So you look at the Slafkovskys, the Newhooks, the Caulfields of this lineup. You know, you reached out into the Chicago organization, grabbed Kirby Dach. Laine is a really interesting ad. You've got a fairly promising top 6, something that really could coalesce here. But it's incumbent upon those list of characters that I just named to really step up, to find some chemistry, and to produce in a meaningful way. I would say that, you know, if you look at the Detroit's, maybe Detroit's a really good example. Montreal is maybe a couple of years behind where Detroit is. Detroit was 3 years ago kind of in that same stage of a rebuild, and now this is a team that's threatening to maybe emerge into that top 8 in the Eastern Conference. I put Montreal a step or two behind all of that. But again, some really promising pieces. Laine, should he be able to find that form that we've all been leaning in, knowing that he's capable of, it's, you know, this could be a situation. To me, Jamie, like a realistic goal for this group is to shrink, just to take a step forward just in terms of the record. Maybe it's playing 500 hockey, but certainly shrinking the delta between where they finished last year and where that playoff cutoff line is, shrinking the gap between those two positions. And just a personal point about Laine. Again, nobody's going to dispute all the ability, all the talent in the world. Really great puck handler, fabulous release. But he's really at a moment now where 3 teams into his NHL career at a rather, you know, abbreviated span of time, it's time to produce. Like, it's time to put it together.
And he said that in his comments. He said, you know, I'm expecting big things myself. I know other people are as well. So we certainly wish him well, and we hope that he is able to perform at a high level for this team.
I think he's capable of that, for sure.
That needs it very badly.